the best houses are not for sale. So what does that mean? Right. So basically what that means is you have on market real estate deals and then you have off market real estate deals. The difference between an on market real estate deal and an off market real estate deal is the on market deals are listed with a realtor. I'm definitely pro realtor, right? But honestly, in this market right now, it's difficult to find really good deals. There's so much competition out there. People are looking for houses because there's low inventory, right? And you know this as well. So you
Yeah.
have a very low inventory and you have a lot of buyers looking for property. So that's just going to ramp up the price of real estate and create a ton of competition. So the best thing anybody can do is practice finding off market deals. And you should do this even if the market is not as hot as it is right now. This is how we find our big money deals. So you go to someone who doesn't even know that they want to sell their property, or you at least find the person who might have it in the back of their mind that, hey, I might be interested in selling my property, but they haven't listed the property on the market yet.
Hey everyone, Ryan here with Planet Cheapskate, and I have a very, very special guest today. Jamel Gibbs is joining us from his channel. Jamel Gibbs, I know he does, he talks, it's like family-oriented real estate investing, and I came about Jamel's channel a few months ago whenever I was looking to do some duplex investing and multifamily homes, and his channel just popped out at me, and I started watching some of his videos, and I guess even beyond the multifamily thing that which I'm pursuing now, some of you guys may be aware of, but I was really moved by like how he was giving back to his community. I know he's like working with his nephew and some other young adults.
My daughter
And
as well.
oh yeah, and he's just doing things. He's giving back to his community, and that's like kind of my ambition for my channel. Is like I want to get to that point at some point where I can just give back to my community and do things like that. And I know we do the drawing for subscribers and everything like that, but I want to do something so much bigger, kind of like similar to what Jamel's doing. And pretty, congratulations, Jamel. He just hit it 20,000, so that's awesome news.
Appreciate it, man.
You can just, if you check out his channel, which I'll leave a link to in the comments below, but if you check out his channel, you'll just see that, I mean, he's got a huge heart, and he's doing what he's passionate about, and he just really, he wants to improve the lives of others. So that's kind of my spiel. That's how I came to know Jamel's channel, but I'm so grateful and thankful that he's coming on here and sharing some good advice and his story with us. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jamel if you want to, do a little intro and talk about your channel.
Sure, man. First off, I appreciate you having me. I'm always looking to provide information. I've been in the business for 20 years. So as you can imagine, I've experienced a lot of different things within that time frame. So the purpose of me setting up that YouTube channel was really to share information that I didn't have access to, as I've built my real estate investing business. And, the questions that I thought people would actually have in order to succeed in real estate is what I put on the channel. And lo and behold, I've been able to build a small community at this point. And I grab from the community. I'll grab questions and things like that, and I'll create more content wrapped around those questions. And obviously it's a benefit for me, because I can help more people, because if one person has that question, then other people will have that question as well. And then it's a benefit for the people who have the questions, because they can get their questions answered without paying a ton of money to be able to get the answers that they need. So nothing wrong with pursuing higher levels of education in regards to, coaching and things like that. But sometimes people just don't have the funds to be able to do it. So that was my purpose of setting up the YouTube channel. And really, I want to give people a head start to be able to get some funds in their pocket through the information that I provide. And then we can talk about taking it to a different level of education, maybe a mastermind or something like that later on. But
Yeah.
I don't ever ask anybody for anything. That's not my style. I just want to provide them with what they need to be able to get from where they are to where they want to go, or at least have a little bit of a spark that can get them there. And once they get that spark, if we can do business later on, that's fine as well. So that's the purpose of my YouTube channel, to give back to the real estate community, to provide information that people need, and questions that I didn't, answers that I didn't have coming up. I want people to have that information so that they can speed up the process. And what took me, they say 20 years to become an overnight success, right? What took me years to do certain things, people can do in a relatively short period of time now. So
Yeah.
that's why I set the channel up.
Yeah. And, when I get into a project or something like I wanted to with the duplexes, I do deep research, and the place I go to is YouTube.
Yep.
And what I loved about your channel, what set your channel apart from every single other channel that I've seen and was giving advice, is that you give back. I mean, you were working with those kids to get an investment going. You were like even kind of saying, hey, everybody has to have a role. Everybody has to have a role. And I mean, that's something that's like, to me, it's like, it made me fall in love with your channel. And I mean because I mean, it's so easy to make these videos just giving guidance and just kind of going down a list of like subjects that you want to hit and, giving the information. But when you actually have people coming on your channel that you're working with to improve their lives, that's huge, man. And so
appreciate that, man. And it's definitely near to me as well, because I didn't have a me when I started. So if I can give back, especially to a younger generation that's looking to do something positive, then I'm definitely going to do it. And, that's why guys like you and I exist, man, on YouTube, is to give back through channels like this, to provide information,
Absolutely. When I was starting my channel, one thing that I noticed, I've seen a lot of different advice and education out there, but I was like, hey, nobody's giving out the mortgage rates. Nobody's giving out the home loan rates. It's like, why are we keeping this like it's
Right.
a poker card that we're playing? It's like, put them out there so people can make an educated decision. I mean, this is some people's largest purchase of their lives. We don't want them to go in this, blind, like with a blindfold on. We want them to know what they're doing. Hey, if my rates aren't the best rates in town, at least I'm putting them out there so people can see, when they're making that most, important decision. But just want to thank you for coming on the channel. And I have a little bit of questions, that just kind of been, burning into my mind. And, these are kind of things that I've seen that, I think that a lot of my viewers and subscribers would probably wonder about. And so, whenever you're ready, I guess we'll do like a rapid fire kind of thing, but
Let's do it, man.
maybe. So the first one that kind of stuck out to me was, I have so many of my subscribers, so many of my listeners that are just having such a hard time finding a house in this market. And I know that you've made a couple videos on like kind of from the investor outlook, but I think that these same methods could be applied to maybe people out there looking for their first home. A long time ago, a mentor I worked with said, hey, Ryan, the best homes aren't even for sale. You got to go hunt them down.
Yep.
So my question for you would be, how do you find the houses out there in this type of a market?
Great question, man. First off, your mentor was absolutely correct. The best houses are not for sale. So what does that mean? Right. So basically what that means is you have on-market real estate deals, and then you have off-market real estate deals. The difference between an on-market real estate deal and an off-market real estate deal is the on-market deals are listed with a realtor. I'm definitely pro realtor, right? But honestly, in this market right now, it's difficult to find really good deals. There's so much competition out there. People are looking for houses because there's low inventory, right? And you know this as well. So you
Yeah.
have a very low inventory and you have a lot of buyers looking for property. So that's just going to ramp up the price of real estate and create a ton of competition. So the best thing anybody can do is practice finding off-market deals. And you should do this even if the market is not as hot as it is right now. This is how we find our big money deals. So you go to someone who doesn't even know that they want to sell their property, or you at least find the person who might have it in the back of their mind that, hey, I might be interested in selling my property, but they haven't listed the property on the market yet, right? Realtors do it all the time, right? Realtors, they go out, they market to property owners, and they find the people who aren't ready to sell or who may be ready to sell, but they're not listed yet.
Yeah.
And you can do the same exact thing, right? So
Kind
you
of
go out,
the diamonds in the rough, kind of.
diamonds in the rough, right? So
Yeah.
what we do as real estate investors, we focus on, let's say, a property that's vacant and needs a little bit of work, needs some TLC. The owner in that situation, the motivation for the owner in that situation is that the property isn't generating any income. So it's costing the seller or the property owner money every single month. And then in addition to that, it needs work. Maybe the seller or the property owner doesn't have the money to fix up the property to get it to a point where they can maximize their profit potential or get it rented, right? So that's two layers of motivation that you can focus on just to find the person that may be in a position to sell but don't know how to get rid of the property. And what you do is you help them get out of that situation. Another thing you could do, maybe they're backed up on their taxes. Maybe there's code violations because the property needs some work. So what you're doing is you're looking for distress, right? As a real estate investor, we focus on finding distress. And there's two layers of distress as well. You have physical distress, meaning the property needs some work, but then you have financial distress. Maybe they're backed up on their taxes, right? So you're looking for issues that you can solve, problems that you can solve. And then once you get good at solving problems, you'll always have another deal lined up for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that you kind of go in a little bit deeper in that in your channel. So if anybody's kind of want to know a little bit more of like what you look for and, ways that, to see or to guide you towards the type of properties that Jamel's talking about, be sure to check out his channel and you can find more information on that there.
Yeah.
I know there's several videos that I checked out that have a lot of good info on there. And I think you also offer like a one-on-one coaching too. I don't know. Is that something that you also offer to people that maybe are really, really determined to make some action now?
Yeah, I do. I do offer one-on-one coaching, provided I have the time to be able to do it. I don't take on too many students at one time. So I do have a coaching staff as well.
Yeah.
That's completely separate. But for me personally, I take on 5 students a year. I can work with that and be able to help people catapult their success relatively quickly. Yep.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So a lot of my subscribers, a lot of my viewers are actually realtors because realtors love to know what the rates are, going into the weekend. That's kind of their time to rise and shine, is when we're normally taking our days off on Saturday and Sunday. They're going full steam ahead. So I know, with you said like 20 years experience, right? Probably over 20 years. I forget, but I know you've negotiated so many different contracts. So what are some, just keys, maybe some just quick 2 or 3 keys that you found just really sets your negotiation skills apart?
Well, first off, I was an active realtor until 2006, real estate broker in
Okay.
Brooklyn. And so I know how to play both sides of the fence because of that, right? So I transitioned from being a realtor into a real estate investor, primarily for financial reasons, right? So I feel like I can do more and scale a lot quicker as an investor than I could as a realtor. It's all perspective. But as a realtor, to understand the world of investing. What investors are looking for are, like we just said, off market, or even if they're on market, we're looking for distressed real estate, right? Financially or physically distressed real estate. And the key to it is, we have to be able to purchase properties at what the value of the property is. Now, you would agree with this as well. A house that needs, $30,000 in work, $40,000 in work is not worth the same as a house that doesn't need repairs. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Right. So let's use $200,000 as a property value in this market right now. If $200,000 is a house that's in tip-top shape, and then you have the house next door, and they're identical houses, but the house next door needs $50,000 in work, does that mean that that house is worth $200,000 as well? Can the seller ask for $200,000 for that house as well?
No.
Probably not. Right. But most sellers will try to do that because most sellers think they have the Taj Mahal. Right?
Yeah, it's true.
So what we're looking for are profit margin. We're looking for margin to be able to purchase a house. We're looking for margin to be able to repair a house properly. And then we make our offers accordingly. So here's the 3 numbers that I personally look for when I'm purchasing a house. And this can vary because I purchase houses different ways. I can purchase a house creatively, or I can purchase a house cash. When I say creatively, I'm talking about, let's say, seller financing or subject to or something like that.
Yeah.
When I'm purchasing cash, it's completely different, right? So you got to think about what, from an investor's standpoint, an investor is going to tie up a certain amount of cash for a certain amount of time. They're going to need a profit margin, right? So what we typically do is we'll look for what the after repaired value of a property is, meaning what is it worth when it's completely fixed up? What is it comping out at in tip-top shape? Then what we do is we'll multiply that number by typically 70%, because we need at least a 25 to 30% spread to be able to offer a level of comfort for that money that's going to be tied up. Then we subtract the repairs off of that. So out of that 30%, that's going to allow us to carry the home, make the payments. That's going to allow us to make a small profit. And that's also going to allow us to pay for the money that we're paying for when we purchase the property. Even if we're using our own cash, we're still paying for the money because the money is tied into the property.
Yeah.
Right. So we're looking for at least a 30% equity spread minus repairs in order to be able to purchase a property for cash. Now, if we're doing something like seller financing, if we're experienced enough as investors, we can pay more for a property, provided we don't have to go out and get the money to purchase that property, and we're using the seller as the bank, right? So we can pay more and also pay interest on top of that to be able to make that deal work. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, before I make an offer, I want to know how much a house can comp out at if it was in tip-top shape. I need to know the asking price. I need to know how much work the property needs and how quickly we can get this deal done. So those are 4 things that I personally look for. And then in addition to that, I'm always asking if there's some type of seller financing or some type of creative situation that we can work out in order to be able to save the money that I have to put out to be able to make the deal work as well. So those are the types of deals that I personally look for.
Yeah. And so when you find those, okay, so going back to like maybe the first question, when you find those deals that maybe are not even, they don't even know that they're interested in selling, and you do your calculations based on what you think of that house, would you go to them and say something like, hey, what do you think your house is worth? Or would you just make an offer to them with your number and then let them think it over?
Understood. So the first thing I'm doing when I find that particular person that we're talking about, the person who doesn't know that they want to sell, is I'm going to contact them and just see if there's even any interest in selling, right?
Yeah.
If there's interest in selling, then I need to know everything about the property first.
Mm-hmm.
And then they didn't wake up in the morning saying, hey, I want to sell my house today. I want to sell that investment property today, or whatever property it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to know, what would they ask if they were to sell today? And then I want to ask them generic questions. Hey, so we can role play a little bit if you want. So Ryan, I appreciate you taking my phone call. I know you weren't expecting my call today. Quick question. Could you tell me a little bit about the property? And then from there, when was the last time the roof was updated? I'm just asking generic.
It's got a huge hole in the roof. Big hailstorm.
Big hailstorm, huge hole in the roof. So I'm assuming the property needs a lot of work, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna spoon feed that. I'm assuming that the property needs a lot of work, right?
50,000.
So 50,000 in work. Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you come up with the 50,000?
I got an insurance quote for the hail.
Got it. So you got an insurance quote. The insurance broker, insurance company told you that you're going to need $50,000 to repair the roof and do the inside as well. That takes care of all the water damage and mold and everything, right?
Yeah, seems kind of high, but
yeah. I get it. It can be, but you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at the amount of damage that a hailstorm can cause, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
With that being said, obviously the house needs a tremendous amount of work at this point. Knowing that it needs work, what would you be asking for that house if you were to sell it today?
300,000.
300,000. Okay, that's fair enough. And this is me talking. This is not us negotiating.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's just assume that house is a $500,000 house. Okay, that needs some work.
Yeah.
Let's just assume that. So you're asking 300,000 for, let's tighten up the numbers a little bit. Let's say that the house is 350,000 and it needs 50,000 in work.
Okay.
You know what? Let's go for 400 grand. Make it easy. 400,000 is what what other houses are comping out at. You're asking 300,000. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. So let's press play again.
Yeah, we can.
So what we're doing is so you're asking $300,000 for your house. I appreciate you providing that. Now, with that being said, if I were to come to you and I said, hey, Ryan, I have a bag of cash right here. I want to close this out as quickly as possible. How much needs to be in this bag in order for us to be able to close this deal? What's the least amount you're willing to take if I were to close this within the next week or two?
That's good. Yeah. I like the bag thing. That's a good.
Yeah. I made that up a couple years ago. I've been using it ever since. It works.
Yeah. And so, that's what I was kind of trying to get to is for negotiation. Do you want to kind of tell them what you're going to offer first, or do you want to just see what they,
No, what I'm doing is I'm having them negotiate with themselves. I'm just asking questions. That's it.
Yeah. That's genius.
Because watch this. So Ryan, if I had a bag of cash, what's the least amount you're willing to take over, if we were to close it relatively quickly?
280, 285.
Ryan, I appreciate that answer. Is that really the best you can do?
I said I was wanting 300,000, so I'm knocking a little bit off of that just to close immediately.
Got it. So your number was, just so I'm clear,
280.
280. Okay. So you see what I just did there?
Yeah.
It's not the questions you ask, it's how you ask the question. So you just dropped $20,000 and gave me $20,000 in additional equity right off the bat. Right.
Because you've seen that I was motivated to sell fast. Once I figured out that it was a possibility,
right.
By by your, asking, you seen that speed was,
Speed is a necessity, right?
speed is a
So
necessity.
now check it out. You got a $400,000 home, and you got the seller. That's $120,000 in equity with a house that needs $50,000 in work, just by asking questions. So he was at
Yeah.
300,000. I said, "What's the least you can do?"
Mhm.
You dropped it 15,000. I said, "Is that really the best you can do?"
Yeah.
Did I negotiate with you at all?
No, just asking questions.
Just asking questions. So it's
Yeah.
in the way I'm asking the questions. Is that really the best you can do?
hmm
Is
Yeah,
gonna
and I didn't feel like it was hostile or anything.
exactly.
It was very, very friendly, very nice conversation.
And that's exactly how the same way I'm talking to you is how I talk to the sellers. And that's how I train my staff to be able to talk to the sellers. And that's how we close so many deals.
Yeah.
Right. So where it takes the average investor, it'll take them, 15 to 25 offers to get one deal. We get 7 contracts within that same 25 offers.
Nice.
Right. So what we typically do is we ask the questions in such a way. I don't like this word, but it is what it is. It's called persuasion, right?
hmm
This is sales. Real estate
Yeah.
is all about sales. It's how you ask certain things that's going to lead the seller to answer in such a way that it's going to either benefit you or not, right?
hmm
So, and you don't want to take advantage of sellers either. That's not the goal here. The goal is to get a property at a great deal, and the seller is happy with the deal that they signed up for as well, right?
Yeah.
So I just asked you questions. I didn't say, "Hey, would you do 170,000 and lowball you?" I said, what's the least you're willing to take? Is that the
hmm
best you can do? And you negotiated with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
And I mean, I think, just by doing cold calling myself or just even warm calling, sometimes it doesn't go as easy as that. You get someone who's a little hostile
yeah,
and they're not happy. But the point is it's a numbers game. You make
that's
enough of
it.
those type of calls, the number I heard is like, if you make 100 calls, you're going to get one solid good deal potential.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is a numbers game. They don't always, I mean, uh you got to know how to talk the seller's emotions down a bit.
Yeah. Not take
Um,
it personal.
can't take it personally. You have to remember that people don't buy what you're selling, they buy you.
hmm
So if you can just be yourself, and you can be kind, and you can just allow the seller to see that you're not like everybody else. You're separating yourself from everybody else. But you truly want to help them, then you'll always do business. One way that I show sellers that I truly want to help them, they might be in a situation. So let's say the house is worth $400,000. You're at $280,000 right now. Ryan, I appreciate you. So what's 4 times 7 is 210. 4 times 7 is 280. So you're right at the number, right? 280. And that's before the repair. So technically I need this house at like 230 in order to be able to make it work. So watch how I do this. So Ryan, you know, right now, as you can imagine, you know, let me take a step back. So right now, Ryan, you're at $280,000. I appreciate that information. That's going to allow me to help to be able to make you the best offer that I can personally make in order to be able to get you out of this situation as quickly as possible. Before I make you an offer or anything like that, I just wanted to ask a couple more questions just to get a roundabout idea of where we need to be. Um, how quickly did you need to sell this property?
ASAP. Yeah, as
And
soon as possible.
and I'm assuming that the house is vacant because there's a big hole in the roof, right?
Yeah.
So I would hope it's vacant,
Yeah.
because you'd be surprised. There's some squatters that would stay there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I hope you're not facing that type of issue. So does the house have a mortgage on it right now?
Yeah. There's a mortgage on it, and we were just waiting. We were waiting to get it, the insurance work done, and then we were going to list it for sale.
Got it. Okay. quick question. If there was an opportunity for you to continue making money on this property without owning it, would you be interested in hearing about something like that?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay. Sounds good. So that just allows me to understand that, I can be a little flexible with my offer, primarily to be able to help benefit you as well. And then if we decide to go that route, you can also defer the taxes that you're going to possibly pay on this property as well. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Okay. So you see how I'm starting to warm you up to seller financing, right? I'm
Okay.
giving you a little bit of information. Now, in addition to that, before I make this offer, quick question: did you need help with anything in regards to the property? Did you need help moving some things out? Did you just want to leave everything there? What's the situation with that?
There's nothing important there. I mean, it's pretty vacant, but most of the stuff that's in there can be thrown out if there's anything. And really, the only thing is just the hole, that needs to be repaired.
Okay. So now I'm starting to warm you up to providing some additional help for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll tell you what, since everything is vacant, you don't need anything. I'm just confirming that, right? You don't need anything out of the house.
No.
All right, perfect. Leave it all there. We're gonna take care of that problem. I want to make this as easy as possible for you. You know what I mean? So with that
Okay.
being said, I want to make you two different types of offers, right? And I do this so that you can have options. So one way, I'll be honest, because the house has a big hole in the roof, and there's a certain amount of time that's going to take for us. It's going to cost us money to hold on to this property for a while. As you can imagine, we're going to be making monthly payments, so it's going to cost us. And we're obviously in the business of making money, and you're in the business of making money as well, because I'm sure you want your profit for it.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I know you're at $280,000. I worked out the numbers on my calculator here, and my numbers is telling us that with the margin that we need in order to be able to make this deal happen, we're somewhere in the neighborhood of $230,000 to be able to close as quickly as possible. Is that something that you would consider?
I think it's just too low.
Totally understand that. How close can we get to that number in order to be able to make it work?
I mean, I think the lowest probably would be 275. I mean,
275?
and that would be like very fast, taking care of
Okay.
everything.
I'll tell you what, we can pay 275 provided we're able to go the other route that I told you before, where we can defer the taxes. You can still make some money on the property every month. The only difference is we won't provide a lump sum of cash up front. It'll be payments over time. Is that something that you might be interested in hearing about?
So I wouldn't have to make any mortgage payments, like on it.
No, so we're gonna pay the mortgage payment, and you're still gonna make some money in addition to that, so that we can make this thing work. So
Sounds good to me, as long as I don't have to make the payment anymore.
perfect. So if we were to pay you the 275, and let's say I give you $5,000 down, and in addition to the 5,000, what do you feel like the place can rent for right now?
Well, probably not much with it, the damage, but if the damage was fixed, I think you could make a pretty good rent on it. I'd say maybe what 1% a month, or
So you feel like 2,500 a month it can rent for?
yeah.
That's right up our alley, Ryan, because I was going to offer you $1,300 a month in addition to the $5,000 down, and I'll make 60 payments of that, and then I'll give you a lump sum at that time where you can take that lump sum of money, and what that allows you to do is defer the taxes that you're going to pay on it, and in addition to that, you can be able to do some things with the cash flow for the next 60 payments or so, to be able to not have to worry about the mortgage payment or anything like that.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm sure there's some things that you might be interested in doing, but this is money that you can get every month for the next 60 months. And in addition to that, get a nice lump sum after the fact. Would you be interested in doing that deal?
Absolutely.
I wouldn't say interested in doing that deal, but would you be interested in doing something like that? That's how I would close it. I don't like to use certain trigger words like deal. I don't like to use the words close. There's certain trigger words that I don't use. You'll never hear me say it to a seller. I don't ever say seller. I say homeowner.
Homeowner, yeah.
Or
That's
property.
good.
If they don't live in the property, I say property owner. Because there's I detach the sentimental value by saying property versus home.
Yeah, and that was just solid gold. That that whole role play, something that I keyed in on was that everything you identified my pain points,
and I ask for permission all the time.
Yeah, you always ask permission, but you identified the pain points and you came up with a solution at that pain point to where it was easy to make the decision, because it's like you seen that the pain point was you didn't want to make the mortgage payment anymore, the problem with the damage to the roof, and that was good. There was a lot of good advice on negotiation in there, so that was solid.
Now, a true motivated seller may go similar to that. My wording might be different. I don't like to have. They say every good salesperson has a script. I don't necessarily have a script. I have an outline. I know where I need to go, because every person is different. So you can't treat every single phone call like the last phone call. You know what I mean? Yeah. Every person is going to have a different pain point. So you got to know how to tap into the emotion. That's why you got to train yourself to be yourself. When you're selling, most people, they turn into somebody else when they're trying to sell. You don't want to sell. You just want to provide a solution. That's it.
Yeah.
If you understand that as a real estate investor, you're a problem solver, all your problems will go away.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of my viewers, subscribers are first-time home buyers. And so one of the questions I was really curious about, with all your extensive background and your experience, so if you were to start all over again and, you were to put yourself in their shoes as a first-time home buyer, like what would you do, like from the very beginning?
Great question, man. Can I touch on one more thing from the last subject? Did you notice the price gap? I was just thinking about this as you were talking. I used the cash offer to bring the price down so that you can accept the $275. It sounds much better, and you came down another $5,000.
Yeah.
Right. So the cash offer really solidified me being able to get the property through seller financing at that point.
Yeah, it was strong. Cash offer is always going to be really strong, and then it's huge. And then it turned out to where you realize that later on that it wasn't necessarily the cash. It was a cash offer, of course, but it was the payments and it was the quick. This seller wanted it out of his hair. He didn't want to mess with it. But yeah, that was good.
Now, if I was starting all over, just to answer your question, there's a couple of things that I would do differently than I did when I started 20 years ago. And this is how I train my coaching students on how to do it as well. So step number one is to set up a business, right? We personally set up LLCs. And the reason for that, actually set up 2 LLCs. And we could talk about that in more detail if you want to, but set up 2 different LLCs. The reason for that is because you want to get your business established. Lenders, after 2008, they don't typically lend. And when I say lenders, I'm talking about investment lenders. They don't typically want to do business with people who are using their own personal name. They don't want to have any involvement in that. So they want you to have a business set up in advance to be able to lend you money to be able to purchase real estate. So what you want to do is, and I'm talking to a lender, so you could probably attest to that, right?
Yeah.
What you want to do is you want to get your LLC set up right off the bat. And then once you get your LLC set up, get your bank account, your EIN, and everything set up, now you're established as a separate entity where you can go out there and start making offers on properties. Now, I know we're talking to realtors at this point as well. Even if you're a realtor, you should probably set up an entity and have your real estate brokerage, all your payments go into your entity rather than your personal name, because you're going to save a tremendous amount of money on taxes.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you right now.
Absolutely. My mother's a realtor, just got started. She was a realtor back in the 80s, and then she just started anew. And first thing we did was get her an LLC started up.
That's right. Get paid in your LLC. I'm telling you, don't accept money in your personal name.
Yeah.
And the good thing about an LLC is a flow through entity anyway. So it's going to go through you, but you're going to save so much in taxes. And that's what you want. Right.
Yeah.
And you have that level of protection as well. So get an LLC set up. The next thing you want to do, step number 2, is start focusing on business credit, right? A lot of people just getting started in business are really low on capital. All their money is going into the business. So you can build business credit within 3 to 6 months. So you set up an LLC and start tapping into the Ulines, the Grangers, the Shell Gas, the Quill, the Capital Ones, the Lowe's, the Home Depots, all of those starter accounts to build up what's called a paydex score. A paydex score is similar to a credit score, but a paydex score is for businesses, right? A perfect paydex score is an 80, and you can build that up within 3 months, right? So now you can start going to get, after 3 months, you can start getting 0% interest financing on your business. So now you have a little bit of funding to put towards the next step, which is marketing your business, right? So one thing that I want you to understand, in business, you're going to sacrifice something. It's either going to be time or money, right? If you have a little bit of money, you can speed up your results. If you have time, it may take a little longer, but you'll eventually get there. So you have to decide where you are right now in your business in order to be able to get to the income as quickly as possible. So step number 1, set up your business. Step number 2, start building business credit. And I'm going to combine step 1 and 2 together. And I'm just going to say, start a business and start building business credit together. Let's just call that step number 1. And let's call step number 2 marketing. So now you're established. Let's get into marketing. Marketing is finding the deals, right? Once you start finding deals, what you need to do is start knowing how to negotiate the deals and knowing how to solve problems. So find the deals, negotiate the deals, close the deals, solve problems, close deals. And that's about it, man. After you get paid, take the vast majority of your money, and which is active income at that point, and start applying it towards creating passive income. Passive income can be rental real estate, anything that you don't have to work for but can get paid for. We just made an offer on a laundromat in Charlotte, 2 laundromats in Charlotte. That's passive income, right? We own rental real estate. That's passive income for me. But we take active income to create more passive income, so that we won't have to continually repeat active income over and over again to be able to live. So that's really the I'm probably scratching the surface of the deeper things we could talk about.
All this stuff that we talk about, I'm sure, and I'll put it in the description in the comments below. You can go and check out Jamel's channel, and I'm sure you can dive deep into it. He's got tons of content that you can dive into. It's real briefly though, I just want to touch a little bit on, so you hear a lot of these these hot terms in real estate investing, and one of the ones that kind of is really popular right now is called house hacking. Again, just scratching the surface of it just a little bit. If they want to get into it more, they can go to your channel. But can you explain a little bit just about house hacking and what that is? Yeah,
really simple. House hacking is for the average person who wants to, let's say, purchase their first home. Rather than purchasing a single family property, you can go and get an FHA loan or a conventional loan for up to 4 units. And you can live in one of the units for a year or more, and you can rent out the other units. And the idea behind house hacking is the other units are going to allow you to live in your unit for free, or at least at a very minimal expense. And you own the property, and you're able to build wealth this way. So rather than focusing, this is great for like college students and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Great for anybody really, but you live in one unit and you rent out the other units. You live in your unit for free. And then after a year, you can rent your unit out and then go and get another house that you might have your eye on.
Yeah. And there's so many. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm going to say, and the beautiful part about house hacking is you can do this, especially through FHA and conventional loans. You can do it, 10 times, I believe. I think the conventional loan you said was once, but I know you can get 10 loans. So rather than going after one door or 10 doors, if you get 10 loans, you can go after 40 doors. And if you're married, you can go after 80 doors because you don't want to put your spouse on there as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And kill. I call that burning loans.
Yeah.
You don't want to burn your loans. You want to.
You want to take advantage.
You want to take advantage of every opportunity you can.
Yeah, and so there's so many different strategies and ways to do this house hacking, and I know that Jamel talks a lot about that on his channel. The conventional product that you only kind of got one shot at is the Home Ready Home Possible.
There you go.
And so once you do that one, I think you can only do it once, and then I think one or the other you can do it after 3 years has went by. But I'm not certain on. One is Fannie Mae and one's Freddie Mac, and then they both have different rules. So, but yeah, house hacking that's some great stuff. The other buzzword you hear, BRRR method. Just scratching the surface. Can you explain that one a little bit?
Yeah, so I actually just completed a BRRR. That's my primary source of business at this point because we're just building up a massive rental portfolio. But basically, BRRR means buy a house, rehab a house, refinance a house, or rent the house, refinance, and then repeat. Right? So that's what BRRR stands for: buy, rehab, rent, refi, repeat. And typically, using a BRRR method, you want to do exactly what we were talking about during that little negotiation. You want to buy at comparable price, multiply by 70% minus the repairs. And that's going to allow you to be able to do the BRRR method. So if we're at a $300,000 house, 70% of that is a $400,000 house. 70% of that is 280,000 minus 50,000 in repairs, using the example that we were just using. So that means I would have to get that house for 230,000 for it to make sense. Then what we do is we put the 50,000 in, and then we put a tenant in the property. We want to be at least a 1%. We want to be at least 1% rent. And then what we do is we refinance the house at 80% of the value, pull 10% of it out, put some cash in our pockets, tax-free dollars, because you can't get taxed on a loan. And you rent the house out, and you use the extra capital to go get another one. That's how you do it.
Over and over again.
Keep doing it. Rent and repeat.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's cool. And you can actually you could do the house hacking and the BRRR method at the same time if you wanted. There's nothing preventing you from doing that.
Yep. I would actually go that route. That's a smart thing to do.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Because the BRRR method works on multi-units as well.
Yeah.
Apartment buildings. It's the same exact strategy, whether it's 1 unit or 1,000 units. It's the same exact thing. Yep.
Yeah. Lots of possibilities. It's insane. Just takes a little bit of good coaching, a little bit of thinking outside the box, and you can get a lot accomplished. So, hey, Jamel, that's all I got for you. I want to thank you for spending some time with us today, answering the questions. And if you're out there listening, be sure to check out Jamel Gibbs, family-oriented real estate investing. Did you want to say anything? Go ahead.
it's all about just taking action, man. You know, it's all about, you know, I have a small saying that I've been saying for years: take massive action in order to get massive results, right? So think about your business in terms of life and death, right? So if you're in a situation where you needed to get to an emergency room as quickly as possible, and you go down to your car, you get in your car, you start the car, you start driving, you got to get to the emergency room no matter what. You go down street number one, and there's a roadblock. Are you going to stop and not get to the emergency room, or are you going to keep going? You go down street number two, and street number two, backed up traffic. You can't get through. All right. That's another hurdle. Are you going to stop, or are you going to keep on going? It's a matter of life and death. So you go down road number three, and there's a clear path to the emergency room. You saved your life. Think of your business in the same terms, right? A business can save your situation because you can get into your vehicle, which is real estate that we're talking about. You can go down road number one, and you have roadblocks, right? Most people will give up after a couple of roadblocks. That's the problem. You don't treat it like it's real life, right? So you go down street number two, and there's another roadblock. Another good portion of people are going to give up. You go down road number three, and you reach your destination, right? If you treat your business like it's a matter of life and death, then you will succeed. Understand, any business you jump into are going to have its roadblocks. But if you just keep plowing through those roadblocks and keep forcing yourself to the destination, that's how you become successful in anything you do. So I just encourage people to take massive action, and ultimately that's going to provide you with the result that you want, helping you get from where you are to where you want to go, no matter where you're starting at and where you want to end up. If you want more information on or more knowledge on how to do this, you can check me out on YouTube, or check out my man Ryan Lee right here on his page. And you know, you can find me at Jamel Gibbs on YouTube.
Yeah. Again, thank you so much, Jamel, for joining us. And we'll have to do this again sometime. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. A lot of fun, brother. I appreciate you.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Talk to you later.